Chosen ones, heaven approved a power for you that history has never seen. There are moments in human history when heaven intervenes quietly, not with thunder or spectacle, but with precision. These moments are not always recorded in books, nor celebrated by crowds. They are written instead into the spirit of certain individuals, souls set apart, refined through pressure, awakened through pain, and entrusted with something the world has never witnessed before. If you are reading this and something stirs deep within you, it is not coincidence. It is recognition. You are among the chosen ones, those for whom heaven has approved a power that history itself has never seen. This power is not political. It is not military. It is not rooted in dominance or control. It is spiritual authority mixed with divine awareness, humility, fused with unstoppable endurance, and compassion sharpened into truth. In previous ages, heaven released strength through prophets, kings, warriors, and messengers. But in this era, something different is unfolding. The power approved for you does not resemble what came before, because the challenges of this age are unlike any other. You were not chosen because you were perfect. You were chosen because you were willing. Willing to feel deeply. Willing to question reality. Willing to walk alone when others followed crowds. Willing to lose things that mattered, so your spirit could mature. Heaven does not entrust unprecedented power to shallow souls. It entrusts it to those who have been broken without becoming bitter, wounded without becoming cruel, delayed without losing faith. Early on, you likely sensed that you were different. Not better, different. You may have struggled to fit into systems that felt empty, conversations that felt shallow, ambitions that felt misaligned. Others chased validation, applause, and comfort, while your soul searched for meaning, truth, and purpose. This inner separation was not punishment. It was preparation. Heaven was teaching you discernment long before you understood the word. History's chosen figures were empowered for visible battles, parting seas, toppling giants, confronting kings. Your assignment is more subtle, but no less powerful. You are called to operate in invisible realms, restoring what trauma stole, awakening minds numbed by illusion, healing identities fractured by a world that forgot God. Your power works quietly, but its impact is generational. This is why your life may have felt unusually intense. Trials seem to come in waves. When one storm passed, another followed. You were tested in relationships, finances, health, faith, and self-worth. Many times, you wondered why life felt harder for you than for others. The truth is this: heaven does not train weak vessels for heavy glory. The weight of what you carry required endurance few could survive. Unlike historical power that relied on fear, your power is rooted in truth. Unlike authority built through force, yours is built through alignment. When you speak, even softly, something shifts. When you stand firm, resistance is exposed. When you choose integrity, deception collapses around you. You may not always see it, but the spiritual atmosphere responds to you, because heaven has marked you. This power does not inflate the ego. In fact, it humbles you. The more you awaken, the less interested you become in proving yourself. Recognition loses its grip. Comparison fades. What remains is clarity. You begin to see through illusions, false success, hollow spirituality, performative faith. You sense when something is off, even when it looks right on the surface. This discernment is part of the unseen power heaven approved for you. History has never seen this kind of chosen one, because never before has humanity faced such layered deception. Technology advances faster than wisdom. Information multiplies, while truth diminishes. People are more connected than ever, yet profoundly disconnected from themselves and from God. Heaven needed a different kind of warrior, not one who conquers land, but one who reclaims consciousness. Your power lies in awakening others, not by force, but by presence. When people encounter you, they feel seen, unsettled, inspired, or convicted. Some are drawn to you, others resist you without knowing why. Light exposes what darkness prefers to hide. This is why misunderstandings follow you. This is why projections land on you. This is why people may label you too intense, too deep, or hard to understand. They are reacting to what they cannot control. Even your pain was strategic. The betrayals taught you boundaries. The losses taught you detachment. The delays taught you patience. The isolation taught you dependence on God rather than on people. Nothing was wasted. Heaven does not improvise with chosen lives. Every chapter, especially the painful ones, was necessary to prepare you for a power that cannot be misused. Unlike historical power that's centered on miracles as proof, your life itself becomes the message. Your survival becomes testimony. Your transformation becomes evidence. You do not need to convince anyone. You embody the truth. This is why your growth threatened old versions of relationships. This is why certain doors closed without explanation. Heaven was protecting what it placed inside you. This power also requires responsibility. You are held to a higher internal standard. What others can get away with will weigh heavily on your conscience. Shortcuts feel wrong. Compromise feels unbearable. This is not self-righteousness. It is alignment. When heaven approves power, it also refines character. Authority without purity destroys. That is why your refinement felt relentless. There may have been moments when you asked God to choose someone else. The weight felt too heavy, the path too lonely. But deep down, you knew you could not return to ignorance even if you tried. Once awakened, the soul cannot sleep again. This is the mark of the chosen. History remembers those who changed systems. Heaven remembers those who changed souls. Your assignment may never trend, but it will echo. People you help today will shape generations tomorrow. Seeds you plant quietly will grow long after you are gone. This is power history has never recorded, but heaven has always valued. Now you are entering a season of activation. The lessons are integrating. The wounds are healing. The confusion is lifting. You may not have all the answers, but you have clarity of direction. Trust this unfolding. You are not late. You are not behind. You were being prepared for a moment that required exactly who you have become. Do not envy louder callings. Do not diminish your quiet strength. Heaven approved this power specifically for you, because no one else could carry it the way you can. Walk gently, but firmly. Speak truth, but with compassion. Stand alone if necessary, but know you are never unsupported. The world may not recognize you yet, but heaven already has. And what heaven approves, no era can erase. What many do not realize, is that heaven's greatest works often unfold in silence before they shake the visible world. Before the fire falls, there is oil poured in secret. Before authority is revealed, there is obedience practiced in obscurity. This is why your journey has felt hidden, delayed, even misunderstood. You were not being ignored, you were being concealed. Sacred power is never exposed prematurely. You see, the power heaven approved for you is not meant to impress crowds. It is meant to transform realities. It does not announce itself loudly, yet it carries weight wherever it goes. This is why, even when you tried to live an ordinary life, something extraordinary kept pressing from within. You could not fully settle. You could not fully conform. Your spirit refused to shrink to fit environments that were beneath its calling. This power awakened slowly because it must be anchored deeply. If released too early, it could fracture the vessel carrying it. That is why your growth came through layers, layer upon layer of stripping, refining, unlearning, and relearning. Old beliefs had to fall. False identities had to die. Attachments that once felt safe had to loosen. Heaven was making room inside you. There were seasons when you felt empty, not because you lacked purpose, but because heaven was clearing space. Space for wisdom instead of impulse. Space for discernment instead of reaction. Space for divine timing instead of human urgency. Many people run from emptiness. You endured it, and because you endured it, you now carry depth that cannot be shaken. History often celebrates instant power, crowns placed quickly, victories won suddenly, miracles witnessed publicly. But heaven's power works on eternal timelines. The authority you are stepping into did not come from a single moment of faith. It came from consistent surrender. Each time you chose truth over comfort, heaven took notice. Each time you forgave when revenge was easier, heaven recorded it. Each time you kept going while exhausted, unseen, and unsupported, heaven strengthened you further. This is why your power does not depend on circumstances. Even when stripped of resources, you remain effective. Even when isolated, you remain aligned. Even when misunderstood, you remain anchored. That is rare. That is dangerous to darkness. That is why opposition followed you closely. Not to destroy you, but because your presence disrupted things long before you spoke. Understand this clearly. The resistance you faced was not proof of failure. It was evidence of threat. Light does not attract resistance unless it carries impact. And yours does. The power heaven approved for you operates through consciousness. You shift rooms simply by entering them. You bring awareness where people preferred distraction. You carry truth that unsettles comfort built on illusion. This is why some people felt exposed around you without you saying a word. This is why conversations changed tone when you spoke honestly. This is why false connections fell apart when you began honoring your intuition. Your discernment is not suspicion. It is spiritual intelligence. You sense motives beneath words. You feel energy behind smiles. You recognize when alignment is missing, even when logic says everything looks fine. This ability was sharpened through betrayal, not to make you fearful, but to make you precise. Heaven trained your perception through experience. And yes, there were moments you doubted yourself. Moments you wondered if you were imagining things, if you were too sensitive, too intense, too different. But sensitivity is not weakness. It is awareness. Intensity is not imbalance. It is focus. Difference is not rejection. It is designation. You were never meant to blend in. You were meant to stand out quietly. Another truth few understand. Heaven-approved power attracts responsibility before reward. That is why your life demanded maturity earlier than others. While people around you were learning basic lessons, you were facing existential ones. While others were discovering who they wanted to be, you were shedding who you could no longer pretend to be. This accelerated refinement was not unfair, it was intentional. Because what is coming next requires stability. In the season ahead, you will notice something shifting, not suddenly, but unmistakably. Doors that once resisted will open without force. Conversations that once felt blocked will flow naturally. Opportunities aligned with your spirit, not your ego, will appear. And most importantly, you will no longer feel the need to chase validation. What is meant for you will recognize you. Your power matures as your patience deepens. You are learning when to speak and when to remain silent, when to act and when to wait, when to intervene and when to allow God to handle what you cannot. This restraint is part of the authority. Impulsive power destroys. Governed power transforms. History has never seen this kind of chosen one, because previous eras demanded domination. This era demands discernment. This era demands healers who are not naive, warriors who are not violent, leaders who are not corrupted by attention. Heaven approved a power that can walk through chaos without absorbing it, influence systems without becoming enslaved by them, and love humanity without being consumed by its darkness. You are not here to escape the world. You are here to illuminate it. Some will only understand you later. Some will never understand you at all. That is not your burden. Your responsibility is alignment, not approval. Obedience, not applause. Faithfulness, not fame. Remember this when loneliness whispers lies. You are not isolated. You are positioned. You are not forgotten. You are reserved. You are not delayed. You are synchronized with divine timing. What heaven approved for you cannot be replicated, rushed, or replaced. It is custom designed, purpose-built, and spiritually sealed. No comparison can measure it. No imitation can duplicate it. No opposition can cancel it. Walk forward with humility, but do not doubt your calling. Carry compassion, but do not compromise truth. Serve deeply, but do not abandon yourself. History may not have language yet for what you carry, but heaven does, and heaven never makes mistakes.